Airtech Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 9, and my thoughts on this episode. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear! Man. A lot of surprising things happened in this episode. But most of this episode was literally just watching a horror film that I think was made in the 80s. And I think they did it 100 times better than what these writers did. The episode felt, well, it was just ridiculous. I mean, it felt ridiculous to watch. It was just a massive copy. Sorry, that's what it was. The big thing in this episode was something that shouldn't be happening this early. They are making one race just impossible at this point to hide. I mean, how Kirk could not know about this race? It's just ridiculous. But yeah, two surprising things happened at the end of this episode for me that I did not see coming, and that put in this show kind of a confusing position if you kind of look at the people. But yeah, this episode felt long, was not entertaining, and yeah, I'm, you know, again, it was just a massive copy of an 80s film, which, god damn. Anyway, let's go into spoilers now because I can't keep dancing around it. My grade for my out of 10 for this is pretty much going to be a 1. No, I'll be fair. 3. I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3. It's a 3 out of 10. But let's go into spoilers. I want to talk about the shit. I really do. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So the episode is about a ship going missing, and Pike has to go and rescue this ship. So they're on a mission to bring some crystals to K7 for their defences, I think. And Pike's having this party for the cadets, so Ahora's there. And we get this monologue from Ahura because she's still like, do I want to stay on the Enterprise or do I want to leave? Because we all know, I mean, it's ridiculous. We know what Ahura is going to do. Trying to long this out is so bloody ridiculous. What they should have done with Ahura as soon as she got on the ship was put her where we all know she's going to be for the rest of the fucking her entire career. I mean, it's just, God, just to keep dancing around it and to make it seem like this massive thing. I mean, no, just get to it. Just put Ahura on the communications because that's what she's good at. Literally the first words that came out of her mouth was, I'm good at talking to people, or I'm good at communications. And we now, anyway. So Ahura says that she doesn't know she wants to stay on the Enterprise. She sees all these people who have worked hard to get there and are so happy that they're now on the Enterprise, and she's just like, not that bothered. I mean, that kind of just slaps everybody else in the face, doesn't it? Like, everybody else wanted to be there, tried their hardest to be there, and you just apparently just got lucky. I mean, that's just such a dumb thing to do to Ahura. I mean, why not just say she worked hard to get to the Enterprise, she worked hard to stay on the Enterprise, and she worked hard to get where she was? Instead of making it seem like she's not that bothered about it. Like, what? She should be more excited, in my opinion. Anyway, at this dinner, Pike thanks all the cadets for their work and says, I hope you stay on the Enterprise and I hope you have a long career in the Federation and in Starfleet, blah, 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 blah. That was basically it. The party then ends, and some of the head staff, like Number 1, Lana, and Spark, they stick around for the after party with Pike, who's washing dishes because that's manly, apparently. And they get a communication from Starfleet. Starfleet need them. No, Spark brings a communication from Starfleet, which is Starfleet is missing a ship. It's called the what's it called? The Paragon. And the Paragon has gone missing with all the crew, and they need the Enterprise to search for it, or at least go to its last known location. And Pike says they'll do it, even though they're supposed to be on a mission to deliver things to K7. But Pike says, we don't need the whole ship. We'll just take a couple of shuttles. Now, I get that they can't, I get that they need to get the crystals to K7. I get that. Why not put them on a shuttle and then send them along? Kind of makes sense. You don't know what's happened to the Pelagon. You kind of, it could be get attacked by ships. I mean, sending shuttles, I get they can't, I get why you can't just let, the crystals, you can't just put them on shuttles, but I don't know. I think you could have explained that a little bit better. I think if the Enterprise just, never mind. Anyway, so Pike goes on some shuttles and they head off to look for the Pelagon, and number 1 takes the Enterprise to K7 to deliver the crystals. So Pike gets to the planet, they land on the planet, the away team, which is Pike, Hammers, Uhura, Kirk's brother, cousin, whatever the fuck he is, and Spock. Oh, I also forgot. Some random guy got promoted to lieutenant, and this was obviously, like, as soon as I heard this guy has been promoted, it's like, so you're going on an away mission, oh, you're dead. I mean, you're dead in about 10 seconds. And then some random fucking different crewman, who's also apparently a cadet, goes with them. They're both dead. I mean, I literally knew that as soon as I saw them. It's like, these two are going to be the sacrifices on this mission, aren't they? Oh, I really do wish they'd not killed them both, or at least not made it so bloody obvious they were going to kill them. I mean, at that moment, as soon as you saw who was on this mission, you know who's going to die. I mean, yes, there was a surprise at the end, but you certainly knew who was going to die at the end of this episode. So they get to the planet. They see that the Pelagon has crash landed, so they head to the Pelagon, and as soon as they get there, they start seeing things aren't as they seem. It looks like somebody has attacked the crew, and the crew have also left the ship, even though we're on this freezing planet, and if you're out in the cold and you don't have any cover, you'll just die. So why have the crew left the safety of their ship? Which is what we find out later. And when they get onto the ship, Lana realizes that apparently there might be Gorn attacking these people because of the way these attacks look to her and the fact she's lived with the Gorn for so long. And my god, what we find out about the Gorn in this episode, it is so fucking ridiculous. And then when you look at the fucking, again, I know the fight between the Gorn and Kirk did kind of look ridiculous. But after this episode, it looks like Kirk might have found a bitch Gorn to fight, because according to this episode, that Gorn should have been like, I don't fucking know, he should have been like a certain alien. He should have been fucking, I mean, it's, again, this is why you don't bring in fucking stupid shit, because it starts damaging other things. Unbelievable. So they get to the Pelagon, they get on the ship, they scan it, looks like there's nobody left on board. They then listen to a recording from the late captain, who pretty much tells them what's happened. And apparently what's happened is the Pelagon rescued 3 people, and apparently one of the people from this rescued group was infected with eggs from the Gorn. So let me get this right. So the Gorn can now implant eggs in you. And the way they come out, I mean, this whole episode is Alien. The first Alien. And it's fucking just, what? So you just copied Alien just to make this episode. And I've just made the Gorn seem impossible at this point. It's like, they can also spit venom. They burst out of you like a fucking predator. Not predator. An alien does. It's just like, this is so lazy. This is so fucking lazy. They have just copied Alien. to make the Gorns seem like this really vicious alien group. And it's just like, you didn't need to do this. Kirk, it makes the Gorn in the episode with Kirk look ridiculous. And again, I know people are going to say it did look ridiculous, but come on. It just makes that Gorn look weird. How the fuck is he not spitting venom at Kirk? Like, why is he not running around? Apparently these fucking things are as strong as fuck. And, oh, God, so much problems with this fucking episode, man. So they figure out the Gorn have been the ones killing the crew, and all the crew's pretty much dead. When they get on the ship, they then bump into this alien who's protecting this girl. And apparently this alien doesn't speak English, and their universal translator doesn't work. So Pike and Lana, well, they have to show that they're not threatening, so they just drop their weapons. Kind of thought it was stupid for them to drop them completely. You don't have to drop the weapons, you could just lower them and just put your hand out and say, we're friendly. Dropping them completely is kind of a bit over the top, but whatever. So this random alien trusts them and brings them into the room where we find a girl. I did not catch her name. And this girl tells them what's happened. Apparently, one of the people on the ship was infected. Eggs came out of him, and the Gorn just started killing the crew. And Lana pretty much sees, like, why did you not warn the crew? Why you must have known about the Gorn eggs. And she starts interrogating her. The doctor is also with them. I forgot to mention the doctor. Oh, and fucking, oh, what's her name? Oh, and Chapel's there. Sorry, I forgot about the med team. So the doctor accidentally calls little girl his daughter. He's probably still thinking about, last episode. But he tells Lana to calm the fuck down and stop interrogating her. And the doctor then goes off with Lana somewhere. Don't really know. They go to see Pike. They tell Pike what's happening. They tell him, the doctor tells Pike, both the girl and the alien are fine, at least as much as he can tell. And that he can't really sense for the Gorn. Lana then starts talking more about how she wants to kill the Gorn and how they have to be vigilant because the Gorn are going to come back and kill them. Because apparently there's still Gorn left on this planet, even though we might not ever find out what happened to them, because at the end of this episode, we never do find the original Gorn eggs, or the Gorns that came out of those eggs. Oh no, we do find out why. Anyway, we'll get there. So, whilst Chapel and this nurse are scanning the random alien, Sparks with the guy who got promoted to lieutenant, and they're checking around the ship. They're trying to reactivate the ship's engines. Hammers and Uhura have also gone to the engine room to try and reactivate the main core of the ship so that they can fly this ship into space again. And that's what they're doing. Back with the alien, when Chapel starts scanning, the alien starts breathing heavily. His heart rate goes faster and faster. And then when Chapel leaves, we then see a scene that's a complete copy of Alien, where we just see a bunch of Gorn just pop out of the alien randomly. Oh, and by the way, the little girl that they rescued don't say a fucking word to help the nurse that's with her. No, the little girl just runs off and fucking hides. And the nurse that's with the alien gets killed by a little Gorn that's just popped out of him. Because apparently, as soon as a Gorn is born, it is a vicious motherfucker who just kills whatever it sees. Apparently. And now that the Gorn have just come out, they're now going to kill each other and fight for dominance, apparently. Because apparently this is how the Gorn work. They're in a hatchling group and they just kill each other until there's an alpha. Because that's how a species survives, apparently. That's what Lana tells the cat Pike. Chapel then sees what's happened. She then jumps into a fucking med bay where she puts a shield up around her, and then the Gorn just leave her alone and then start killing each other again. And then the Gorn just go around just killing random people on the ship. They kill the lieutenant, the newly promoted lieutenant. He gets killed in a few minutes, and Spark tries to help him, but he can't. And Pike tries to shoot the Gorn, but they're apparently too small to hit. but strong enough to drag a fully grown man. Because that's absolutely realistic, isn't it? Anyway, so as soon as that happens, Pike then says, we need to get the fuck off the planet. Let's get the ship up and running. Hammers, can you do it? And Hammer says, yes, just need some time. And they also, Lana then tells, the Gorn hate the cold and they can't go outside. And then the Kirk guy, who's, I don't know, Kirk's brother or cousin, says, why don't we leave and get out into the cold somewhere safe? But kind of have to remind him that's what the original crew did and they all fucking died. So that's not exactly a smart plan either. And Pike also has to remind him that as well. That's also another thing about this episode. Pike, it didn't really seem like he was in control of the away team. It kind of felt like he was just responding to things and he didn't really have a plan. I kind of would have preferred it if he had kind of been a bit more dominant in this episode. But there you go. I mean, we've seen this episode done better in Orville. With the episode of the spiders or vampires or whatever it was. Like, they did this better. Kind of horror episode. Like, corners. Great alien designs. And then this episode, it felt more of a rip-off than what the Orville did. Which was the Orville made a new alien. And it had a kind of interesting theme to it. Whereas all this episode has done with Strange New Worlds is just copy what the aliens do. Because we find out the aliens also spit venom. They spit acid at people. And it's just like, come on. I mean, is the fucking thing going to pop, like have a fucking another mouth coming out of its mouth? I mean, this was literally just a copy of the Alien movies. And it's just ridiculous. And just shows that these writers are that incompetent. If they can't just do something original. Again, you're going to have people say, this is original. No, it's not. It's literally a copy of Alien. Again, we have the Orville to look at for what you could have done to what this show just did not do. It was just a copy. Where am I? Oh, yeah. So, the Gorn keep attacking each other, and apparently they've now killed each other to two Gorn are left, and they are fighting for dominance. Lana is also trying to kind of get to them because she knows how to kill them, but she needs one of them to kill the other one because they can't fight two Gorn, but one Gorn is apparently impossible to kill. You might want to tell Kirk that because he's going to face one soon. Oh wait, he's never going to find out about the Gorn until he has to face a Gorn. It's like, this is so ridiculous. This is so fucking ridiculous. This entire fucking thing with the Gorn. Anyway, so Lana's plan Lana's plan is, get the Gorn to kill each other, which they do. They then Hammers manages to get the engines back on. He gives Uhura a pep talk. He says, you should stay in Starfleet. You shouldn't be on your own. Don't worry about what happened in the past. Stay with the Enterprise and you'll be happy. I'm just going to get through that shit quick because it was pretty boring. So, Hammers gets the engines back online, but the Gorn figure that out and they start trying to get to him. And they try to break through the door, but one of the Gorn kills the other one. Lana gets there, and then they chase down Hammers. Not before, where he tries to get somewhere safe, he gets spit at by one of the Gorn. And apparently this acid spit has something very special inside it for Hammers, which you'll find out in a bit. But as soon as Hammers gets somewhere safe, Lana gets chased by the Gorn. She jumps in somewhere safe too, where the Gorn's attacking her, and they manage to freeze the Gorn with some sort of fucking fire extinguisher thing, and it kills the Gorn. She kills what's left of the Gorn, and boom, that's the whole threat dealt with. And I'm probably missing some scenes, but it's honestly, you're not missing much of this episode. I just want to get to the real parts that actually were really surprising to me, which is the next bit. So as soon as Hammers gets out of where he was hiding, Lana mentions that what has to happen, Hammers, and everybody's like, what do you mean? And it turns out that the Gorn that spat at him, well, apparently that's not just a weapon, it's also how the Gorn procreate. They don't have sex, they spit at people and spread their eggs. Because this is obviously not just like the aliens with the face huggers, is it? You know how they implant you, spit in your mouth. That's apparently different. I mean, apparently, this is what I'm going to go with. Star Trek fans who defend this show. Apparently it's just a little bit different to make it work. Like, piss off. So this alien spat in its mouth, and Hammers now knows that he's infected with eggs because he's telepathic, and he now knows he had to sacrifice himself. Now, I didn't think they were going to kill him off. And I'm pretty fucking surprised that, yes, they've killed Hammers off. Hammers says his goodbyes to everybody, especially to Ahura, who Ahura apparently came very close to Hammers. And Hammers sacrifices himself because he doesn't want the crew to be infected by another fucking bunch of Gorn. And that's how he leaves the show. Now this did surprise me, because we're not even in season 2 yet and they've already lost a member of the cast. Now I don't know if he wanted to leave, or are they just making space for, Scotty to come in. But I kind of doubt Scotty would be put in this early. If you're going to put Scotty in, wouldn't it be a new season to kind of make that kind of a hook to watch the season? So, this was very surprising to see Hammers go. And I liked Hammers. I thought he was great, a member of the fucking cast. I put him next to the Doctor. Them two are probably the best actors in the show. And to lose one of them, well, that's going to hit this show massively hard. Because a lot of the cast are crap. And Hammers and the Doctor are the only decent ones. So I am sad to see Hammers go, unfortunately. So Hammers sacrifices himself. The crew managed to get the Pelagon out of the ice and into space, where Pike and the rest of the crew do a funeral service for the members they lost, which was Hammers, the lieutenant, and the nurse woman, and the pilot woman. I forgot her fucking name. She says something about Hammers, and everybody laughs, and everybody had a good time at his funeral. That's what he wanted. And then Pike goes back to his room, where Lana comes in and says to him, and this surprised me, she wants to leave the ship too, and help the random little girl that they found find her family, because she feels connected to this girl because they've gone through the same things as each other. And she wants a leave of absence that will be a long leave of absence. And Pike agrees, and she now leaves the ship. So not only are we losing Hammers, we're now losing Lana. So is everybody just abandoning ship now? I mean, is the show doing that badly? I mean, did these actors get better opportunities? I mean, it does seem weird for a show to lose 2 of their main cast in the first season. So Pike agrees, and she leaves and calls him, Pike, or whatever the fuck she calls him, to show that she's grown and that she's gotten better and she's more human or whatever. And the episode ends with Ahura, still hurt by Hammer's loss, but she's finally accepted that she's going to stay on the Enterprise, and she's going to be the new communications officer, and that's how the episode ends. This was a bad episode. Tons of problems. I'm devastated that we lost Hammers. I'm not really fussed about losing Lana, but it does seem like this series may be in trouble if we're losing 2 serious cast members. And and that's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And you do like my content, do think about subscribing. Entertainment World Soldier. Bye.